disproportionate sense of protection, that they're somewhat overbuilt. They're these very fragile paper signatures that have been intricately cut with text are protected underneath quarter-inch tempered glass and aluminum and on mahogany legs. And there's a kind of disproportionate sense of value to the idea of protection. And I think that sometimes the work is often about these disproportionate responses, but that becomes part of the subject matter as well.
Are you talking about the visual loss of being able to see these fine cuts, or are you talking about the loss of the words that are on the page?
Kind of both at the same time, because it means for those words to be there, something has been removed. But at the same time, you can see through to the words that are underneath. But of course, the words that you can see on the next page underneath are mostly blocked. They're mostly included, and we have partial access to it, but not a complete understanding of what's said underneath. You probably will also notice as you go around the room, there's a lot of text that's repeated. And it's repeated in the videos, the drawings at the end where it's been, the words have been written in graphite and then erased over and over and over again, or on the books here where they've been incised with the text. So in each case, there is a process of removal that goes with the text is revealed through the removal of something. I'm not sure if that actually answers your question.
Well,
I went somewhere else.
You did a little bit, but
Okay.
it's fine.
All right.
The preservation and
Yeah.
the strength of the case
sort of-
can protect the words, but also
Yeah.
the delicacy of the word.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yep.
You said incised. Cut all that out?
Should I just say yes and make it sound more?
Yes.
Yes. They are actually laser cut.
Okay.
So for the sake of precision, I mean, some of the text is like at a 3-point type. So if you're looking at some of it that is like the little black lines that are sort of vertically on the
yes,
pages.
that one says,
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Yeah, and so when it's magnified, I sort of watch people wandering around trying to gather the details, and that's kind of what I do with the big type. But I don't have a hope in hell of seeing the small stuff.
How important is the text itself, like the content?
It's very important to me. I don't expect that people will be able to fully develop an understanding of it. In many ways, I mean, there's sort of, the text is largely scraped from, scraped. Anyway, we'll go with it, scraped. From journals as we've been traveling through Utah, which is a geologically significant area, where I'm constantly encountering formations of rocks and canyons and rivers that have cut through mountains and that sort of thing, all of which are a product of the earth shifting. They're all a product of catastrophe. And I started, in many ways, to think about what the text is, or what this text is in those situations. In some cases, I think that as you wander along the length of this wall, you start to piece it together, and I think that's also what part of the repetition from this piece to this piece to the video, and as well, it also repeats in the pieces on the back wall.
The text repeats on the video as well?
Some of it, not all of it.
How was that video formed? Is that actors and so on, or is that documentary?
The one on the left is me. The one on the right is Mark Jeffrey, Susan's brother. And it's in many ways, it's a shared memory of a particular incident, and the idea of the telling of this one story has nuances that you actually start to gather more of an understanding of it by piecing together multiple fragments from multiple sources, and I think that's kind of what's also happening with the other works as well, although perhaps more self-contained.
On the books that you have here on the back wall, it almost looks like seismic activity charts that you have there when you're talking about subduction. Have you drawn all those lines yourself, or have you taken seismic sheets and compressed them?
Those are actually, the books have been, well, the books are actually all Reader's Digest condensed novels.
Okay.
And I chose them specifically because they've already been edited from their original form and then republished, so there's already something missing. And unless we were to sit there word for word comparing them with the original and trying to develop a full understanding of what's gone or what's been removed, we're going to be largely unaware of what's missing. So again, perhaps maybe we can equate this with an editorial process, although that maybe doesn't bode well for editors in the room. But they've been cut again to a uniform depth. There's all of the black lines that I think we were talking about as like a seismic activity. I think visually they do that. They reference it, but those are actually the words on the page. That's just a cross section of the text. So there's no possible way to compare any relation to stories, but the text starts to do something else. So again, rambling, not really on target.
Can you just address the 19th century kind of quality, just design quality, just in the brackets?
I do think there's kind of an affinity to a particular quality of 19th century technology that I find really fascinating. And it is that it was often so overbuilt. Overbuilt to the point that things that have a singular function became large and present. And so, I mean, this it's down there, I guess. This magnifying glass becomes far more than just a magnifying glass if you wandered around with it in your hand. It has a particular function, and its usage is controlled by the rail system. And there's definitely a relationship to 19th century technology in regard to the overbuilt quality. But there's also some subtle nods to it, with regard to this could all be solid, but cutting the little design details in it. In some ways, it just the tactile experience of it is an important part. It's maybe a nod that leads you toward thinking about 19th century technology, and I'm happy you actually did. So there is a visual reference, but there's also a thematic reference to it. Again, a rambling answer. I'm sorry. I haven't slept much this week. Several. Okay. All right. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And actually, before you do depart, I just want to thank everybody that has been so incredibly helpful. Carl, Sonia, Irene, and Casey has been fantastic actually helping to install and actually taking over most of the installation all week. So it really is an incredible place, and I appreciate your assistance.